Hello. It's my privilege and my pleasure to take this opportunity to allow you to move graciously into this time of retreat. First of all, I think one of the best ways to do it is to just stop for a moment and realize how very lucky you are to be here. How lucky you are to be entering into this time of retreat. And your luck has been very good so far throughout all of your existence. So think about this fact. Think about the fact that 3.8 billion years ago, a period of time that's older than all of the Earth's mountains and rivers and oceans, that every one of your ancestors on both sides has been attractive enough to find a mate, healthy enough to reproduce, and sufficiently blessed by fate and circumstances to live long enough to do so. Just take a moment and think about the fact that not one of your necessary ancestors was squashed or devoured or starved or stuck or untimely wounded. Each one of your necessary ancestors had the fortune not to be deflected from their mission. And what was their mission? It was to deliver a tiny charge of genetic material to the right partner at the right time, at the right moment, in order to create the only possible sequence of hereditary combinations that would result finally and astoundingly in you. You are extremely lucky to be here. So that's the first thing. Just think about this fact and realize and be grateful for the fact that you are even here. The next thing to think about, I think, is that you're taking some time to go inward, hopefully to have some time of creative silence and reflection. And one of the things to reflect on is whether the fact that you are here is simply fate or luck and has no meaning or significance. Or whether the fact that you are here is part of a larger plan, part of a grand design, a calling toward an unbelievable and unspeakable love. A love who has already shared his love with us and who is doing precisely that even now, as you sit here, as you're listening to me. This love is loving you. This love that is the source of all of our existence. This love that is the truth that underlies all of creation. So, if we just take those 2 points, the fact that we're lucky and the fact that it wasn't easy for us to get here, makes us ask this question, and that is, well, why are we here? So the miracle of our presence can't help but make us wonder what in the world we are and what in the world we are for. So, how are you going to get the most out of this time of silence? How are you going to get the most out of this time that you have willingly chosen to take apart, to reflect on your existence? Well, the first thing I want to say is that no one that I know has ever died from taking time to go on a retreat. remember that. So the first important piece of advice I would give you is, first of all, leave your weapons at the door. Let me say that again. Leave your weapons at the door. So the first thing you're probably saying is, well, I don't have any weapons. Well, let's see. Maybe you do. When we think about weapons, we know that there are some little things that are considered weapons that really aren't dangerous at all, like a slingshot, maybe, unless you're Goliath. But a slingshot isn't necessarily fatal. But a machete wielded against you can be fatal. And a weapon of mass destruction can, of course, obliterate everything around it. So, whatever is a weapon in your life, leave it at the door. And I think there are two kinds of weapons that we have on a metaphorical level. First of all, there's the weapon of our occupations, the things that keep us busy, the fact that we have people to see and places to go and texts and tweets and Facebook posts. And all of these we really experience as kind of overpacked suitcases in our lives. That's one kind of weapon. Another kind of weapon is what I would call your preoccupations. And what are they? Your preoccupations are the things that you worry about when you're not occupied. The things that you worry about when you're not busy filling time and space. Your preoccupations are those things that begin with the question, what if? What if? Those kind of questions that underlie a lot of, and take up a lot of space in our lives. So, another piece of advice is, in addition to leaving your occupations and preoccupations at the door, is leave your masks at the door. And what I mean by that is try and bring who you really are to this time of silence and reflection. Who you really are. Not the person that you think other people want you to be, or just the part of you that you're happy with, or the part of you that wants to hide who you really are from others for fear of being vulnerable. Leave those masks at the door. Leave your prejudice, your fear of faith at the door. Your fear, your prejudice against the goodness of God, the mercy of God, the fact that God accepts you as you are. Leave that at the door. Another thing to leave at the door is any kind of lack of confidence. The attitude, that I can never do this, that nothing good will ever happen to me in this time of silence and this time of reflection. Leave that at the door. Leave your arrogance at the door. And by that I mean, do your best to realize that you're not doing God an enormous favor by going into yourself and accepting, welcoming his love. You're doing this for yourself. So these are the weapons, I think, that you need to leave at the door. These, if you don't have these, you'll be very much more likely to have a fruitful experience of silence, of prayer, of reflection. But also, as you go on any journey, as you go on any pilgrimage, whether it's physical or whether it's a journey to your own interior, you're going to need tools. So here are some of the tools that you'll need for the journey of a retreat. First of all, you need an attitude of openness and an attitude of generosity. You need to be confident in the fact that God wants more than you do to reveal himself to you. You need to have the attitude that God will, in fact, grace you with his presence, that he will, in fact, extend to you his love and his mercy and his active presence in your life and in the world. Secondly, I think an attitude of humility is important, an attitude of sincerity. And that just simply means being who you are and how you are living in the truth, no more and no less. Once you are honest with where you are and who you are, God will do the rest. In fact, I think to have one moment of complete honesty before God would be worth the entire experience of the retreat. Next, I think it's important to make a conscious decision on the retreat, at the beginning of the retreat, to move from your head to your heart. That you would allow yourself to be courageous enough, brave enough, to go deeper than facts and go deeper than reason, and allow yourself to enter into the realm of dreaming, the realm of imagination, the realm of your deepest feelings and desire. And bring your capacity not just to be convinced, as you might be in the head, but also to be touched. Remember that in every retreat, the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. The heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. There's a wonderful book called Death Comes for the Archbishop. It's written by the American writer Willa Cather. And the story is about the settling of the great southwestern part of the United States. And the Archbishop, whose name is Latour, Archbishop Latour and his secretary are riding through the little pueblos in New Mexico to visit the people who've been baptized. And as they're traveling from pueblo to pueblo, they're having a discussion about how God works. And the secretary to the Archbishop says, "Isn't it wonderful how once in a while God breaks into human history with a miracle?" And the Archbishop says, "On the contrary, God is always breaking into human history. The miracle is when we recognize it." God is always breaking into human history. The miracle is when we recognize it. So what coming on retreat is all about is to take away all of the other noise, all of the other distractions, all of the other voices that we hear on a daily basis, to really allow ourselves the grace to encounter the God who is working in our own human history.